Okay guys, so now I'm getting ready to start the meat. If you recall, I told you I had a big chaudière, which is a big pot. So this is what we're going to use to start our meat. And this is the meat that we're gonna use to make the legume. So I'm gonna turn on my heat and I'm gonna show you. I just cleaned this meat so everything is nice and clean. I know it's a lot, but you know, I'm cooking for a crowd, which is my specialty. Sometimes I try to cook little and it comes out a lot anyway, regardless of what I do, so I can't help it. I'm sorry. So we have our beans cooking. Once we get the meat going, then it's just a matter of time. You can't really rush the process because things are, you know, they have to cook. And if you have the all the bones and all the vegetables, it's gonna be a nice happy marriage, so don't rush it. Whoa. I haven't used this burner in a while. See, but I don't cook for myself that much. And I said that in the last video, I don't cook that much. I just don't cook that much for me. Usually I'll have some vegetables and I'll cook some fish or some meat, and then that's all I eat every day. And I supplement with smoothies and I make salads. That's pretty much what I live on. All right, I need to get some épices to get started. But before that, I had a little bit of, I'm gonna put a little bit of onion, just because I just love onions. I think I should put onions in everything. So, I have some onions that I had last night. I came from work really late, and sometimes when I come home late, I feel like some eggs. So I took like half an onion and I just smothered it all over those eggs, and that's what I had to do in the middle of the night. Why not? Who said you can't have it? Okay, so no restriction. Don't put restrictions on yourself. Whatever you feel like eating, have it. If you remember my word, moderation. And remember research. I've become such a skeptic. I was already skeptical by nature, but with research, more so these days because of all the stuff. 1 year, don't eat that, oh my God, it's bad for you. 2 years down the line, oh no, it's really not that bad. So the latest is aspirin. Well, you used to have to be taking aspirin and I felt bad because I could not tolerate aspirin. But now they say, oh no, we don't recommend that you give it to people prophylactically. It's like, make up your mind already. Alrighty, let me get some oil started here. You know, one trick, when I go to the store, like when I go to Publix and they have the BOGOs, if I see a value, something that I know I'm gonna need in my kitchen, in my pantry, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. Oh, what in the world is that? I don't wait till I need something to get it. If it's on sale, I'm gonna get it. Oh, look at that, fancy. It's got like a little spike on top. So it takes the place of those bottles that I see people use to, you know, as a cook, I should know what they call, but like I said, I'm not into fancy too much. I'm a very down-to-earth kind of person. All right, one of the best skills you're going to develop as a cook is how to control temperature. Because when you are cooking your onions, we call that sweating the onion. That means you cook it on medium heat until it becomes clear and pretty and translucent. I can tell you how many times in school the chef would come around and is like, start over. You burn the onion, start over. Because you know, in school you timed for everything you do. So if you have to keep starting over, you're not gonna make it. And if you don't make it, you flunk. Not good. My God, I wish I could go back to school. I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna start controlling my heat. This is a big pot, so it's going to require a lot more heat than my regular pot. But at the same time, I do not want to burn my food. And you know, it's like when you were in elementary school, you remember your teacher, it's like you could hear them in the back of your head. Or your mom used to say, don't do it. I'm like, what? I used to do that to my kids. I'm looking at them straight in the face and I said, don't even go there. They're like, how do you know what I'm thinking? I said, I know. And I have eyes in the back of my head. I know what you're doing at all times. Just to scare them. Alright. So, you know, when I was editing the last video, I realized that I say a lot of alrighty. So I might say a lot of it again. So I'm so sorry about that, but alright. I had a little bit of a piece left over from when I made it the other day. In addition to the one that I have in the jar. So I'm going to use this leftover. You know, I'm very frugal that way. I don't like to waste stuff. Frugality is a virtue. Okay. Well, I wish I could put the video, I mean the camera on top so you could see it, but I'm not that fancy yet. Maybe eventually I'll figure out how to do it, but I don't know how to do it yet. So when things are cooking, I'll just pick up the camera and just show you what it looks like. So that way you don't miss out. If you recall, when we did the piece, we used a lot of cilantro, garlic, and thyme and green onion, which were the 4 basic ingredients. And then we finished it off with olive oil so everything could blend together. So now I'm putting the piece. That's what I love about it. Smells wonderful. All right, I'm gonna let you see a little bit. Can you see what it looks like? Looks really good. And then once it's nice and mixed in, we don't want it to burn. We don't want anything to burn. Do you notice that when your food is burnt in the beginning, that it just affects the whole taste of the dish? And it is something that you really can get rid of. I have tried and I can't. Okay, so now I'm going to put the meat in here. I'm going to dump it all in. Now this is a really big pot, so I'm going to put the meat to the max while I watch it, because that's gonna take some skills. So I'm mixing everything, making sure everything is mixed in together. I need to hire a camera person, don't I? The first time my cousin helped me, she kind of held the camera, but that's really taking somebody out of their what they're doing with their life and have them come in. That's just not something that I want to do. All right. So once that meat starts cooking, I want to season a little bit more. So I'm going to put some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper, okay. Fresh ground pepper. I don't use pepper from a can. And my good old complete seasoning. I use that, and I love adobo. Okay. Now, in terms of hot pepper, I'm going to put some pepper flakes. You know, red pepper flakes, something everybody uses as well. So that's not going to make the dish too hot. But when all the vegetables are in, what I do also is I would throw a big green pepper. It's mostly for flavor, but I put that in there. And then I take it out before I serve the dish, because if it pops in there, it might be a little bit hot. All right, let's add our spices. And then you don't have to put any water in the meat because the water that's in the meat naturally is enough. Especially if you cover your pot, it's going to cook. So you don't need to add any water. And remember, in terms of flavor, we're trying really hard to stay away from water. And when I do show you how to make stock, we'll use stock instead of water. That way, it's nice and fresh. You know me and fresh. I don't like anything pre-made usually. Only a few things. You know, like adobo, yeah. But I'm sure I could make my own if I wanted to. That's a lot of work. I don't want to make a lot of work for me. Did I put any adobo? I don't remember. Alright, let's go for it. And when you're using any kind of spice mixture, remember to find out if they already have salt. Because if they do, and you're adding more salt to your food, you might get into another problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to turn the heat down a bit. And I'm going to cover my pot. Alright, time for a peek. So you can see what we're looking at. Okay, that's it. So we'll cover it and let it cook. I would say about maybe 30 minutes. Because what I want to do, I want it to cook a little bit, but not totally cooked. Because I'm going to add all the vegetables and that's extra cooking time. So you don't want your meat at the end to be mush. You know, you want the meat to be identified in your final mixture. So sometimes if maybe I stepped away and I find that the meat is a little bit tender, I'll take it out. I'll leave the bone, take the meat out, cook the vegetables and all that goodness, all the flavor, and then add the meat at the end. See? You can take shortcuts. You just have to be smart and think about what you're doing. You know, cooking is an art, guys. I mean, I don't know what you call it, but to me it's an art. It's not something that you're born knowing. Some people have an aptitude for it, but you still have to learn the basic principles. All right? So let me put the camera down or the phone down. I'm saying camera like I have a fancy camera. All right, so we are going to start prepping our vegetables, and I will take you along. We are going to use a lot of eggplant. So I have a big pot here waiting to catch everything. And also, the vegetables will cook at different stages because they are not all the same texture. So I usually start with the carrots first because they might take a little bit even though it's not. So I put the carrot and the eggplant in, and then I add the rest of it at the end. Again, I don't want everything mushed up. I want everything to be cooked but still be able to identify them. All right, so we're gonna start with the eggplant. And because eggplant is kind of like apples, you know, when you leave it out, it gets oxidized and it might change color a little bit. But it doesn't really matter too much because it's going to go in there. Everything's going to go in there. And at the end, what you get is not something that is the color of the eggplant, because eggplant is very mild. It's beautiful when you look at it on the outside. And there are some dishes I cook where I don't even peel it, but for this dish we do. All right, so no, let's start with the carrots first. Almighty peeler, which I love. Boom, 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 boom. See why it makes your life so easy? Because, and you know, when you're in the restaurant and that's your job, oh my God. I was part of the prep team and we would prep, oh my God, bins and bins. I didn't mind the lettuce. You had to chop the lettuce, you had to wash it in a bath, you know, ice water bath, and then you had to put it in this big red thing and spin and spin and spin. I still have one in the garage from the restaurant when you're making your salad, because one thing about salad, you don't want your green to be so wet. So that's why it takes a little time. Some people put it in a coriander and let it sit and drain. Some people put them on paper towel. But the little spinners are really wonderful. They dry the lettuce without bruising it. How about that? Another apparatus I wish I had developed, because why didn't I think about it first? That's just not fair. Oh, God, you know, I'm just talking to you, but you know, the heaviness of the untimely death of my little cousin is just so fresh, and it just brings that deep sense of sadness. You know, even though you know we're all dying, you know, but when it always hits you so hard when it happens. Alrighty, so we got, I just said it, alrighty. Are you gonna charge me? I remember I used to be part of a meeting of some guys, but they were like, you know, oh, I'm sure some of them are rednecks. But you know, they would have those things that they would say, and they were not the most flattering things that we wanted somebody to be saying. And I happened to be the only woman in the group. I've been the only woman in a lot of the situation, guys. So I used to say, okay, I'm gonna start charging every time I hear F or whatever word, $5, because you know they were loaded, these guys. So they say, okay, well, what are you gonna do with the money? I say, I'll donate it to a charity. That's what we did. I've done a lot of different things in my life, and that's why, you know, if I don't do anything right now, I'm okay, because I have lived my life and I've enjoyed it. Let's see if I turn this camera around, if you'll be able to see my prepping a little bit better. It takes skills to do this stuff, and skills that I do not have, you guys. Hang on. Okay, guys, I'm panicking now because I went in the pantry and I have no tomato paste. Oh my God. This is the point when you're cooking your legume. This is the meat. See how good it is? It's nice and firm. This is the time when you would put maybe a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. Now, I used to think that this was unique to the Haitian culture, but I find out other chefs use tomato paste. So I'm just gonna go without it because I don't find any. So we're gonna, I mean, it just helps the coloring. It's a little bit of the taste, but all right. So we're gonna dump all the eggplant and the cabbage. Now, this is what it looks like. And remember, you're not gonna cook that much. I just have a lot because I'm cooking for a lot of people. And then this is the point where you're gonna add some liquid. If you have vegetable stock, that will be the time to put it in. If you don't, you can just put some water. Now for something this size, I would probably say 1.5 cups of water, because as you add, I'm gonna add the zucchini and other things, vegetables tend to sweat some more liquid. So we don't want it again, it's just about control, because you don't want your legume to be too watery, okay? All right, so I'm going to cover this baby up and then let it cook. I wanted to show you where we're at in making our legume. So what we're going to be doing now is just keep moving it around and making sure the eggplant is loosening up. So now I'm going to be putting in my peppers and zucchini, because those cook so fast. So I think about 15-20 minutes and we should be done. Now if we had the tomato paste, the color would be a little bit more on the pink side. So we still got plenty of liquid, so I have to find a way to get the heat high enough without burning it to get the juice to evaporate. So we're gonna ink it up a little bit. Alright, so when you get closer to the end, I'll give you a glimpse.